Hello, everyone. Hi, it is Catherine Massell. Let me see if I'm in the right group. 5D Visionary, Elevated Consciousness Coach. Hello. I'm going to make sure I'm in the right group. I'm going to see if people are going to jump on. So there I am. I'm in the right group. Okay, perfect. So hello to everyone. I hope you're enjoying the summit. We have so many amazing presenters in here. I'm just catching kind of bits and pieces and you know, parts of people's live presentations. Hi, Sharon. And what a wonderful and just tremendous lineup of presenters. And so huge shout out to my sister from another mister, Abigail, who I love. And obviously, because she's such an amazing soul and bringing so much light, which is needed now to blanket the darkness, you know, stepping up and creating something like this, you know, speaking from my own experience, because I do one myself twice a year in my group. You know, it's no small feat to get this together and to, you know, cultivate and craft this event. So huge shout out and thanks to Abigail, and thanks for thinking of me and inviting me. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with me and like to know a little bit about me, so my name is Catherine Massell. I am an elevated consciousness coach. I'm a 5D visionary. I have a pretty strong commitment to creating bridges and pathways to ascended awareness. What I do, what my kind of sweet spot is working with time and timelines. I teach a whole program about it. It's a very comprehensive, soon-to-be 12-module program, which I'm going to gift you guys a discount on that when I'm done with this talk here. If you want to work with me further, this is the way to do it with this Timelines program. It is called Timelines Expanded Masterclass, and it is a very comprehensive 12-module program about all things the nature of time itself, how humans create time in 3D, the nature of timelines, how to opt out of false timelines in the false ascension matrix, how to bend time, how to merge time, how to quantum jump time, how to collapse time, how to activate your highest timeline. All of this is covered in this program and so much more. We work with our ancestral timelines and reclaiming our energy from those. It is a really one-of-a-kind program. And so if you want to work with me, you like my flavor, you like my vibe, I invite you to do that. And I'm going to have a 3-day summit event promotion for you guys to get $100 off this program. And so what I really love to do is help people engineer their level of consciousness now, so that it matches in vibration to where we're going, what we're elevating into. And something that gets dismissed, not a lot, but I see it definitely in certain circles, those who are teaching about spiritualism, those who are teaching about ascension, those who are teaching about elevated consciousness, not including the universal laws. And we're remiss if we don't include the universal laws into our conversations about elevated consciousness, because these 12 universal laws, the first one being the law of one, which is what I'm here to talk about today. These are immutable. That means they are unchanging. So no matter what level of awareness or dimensional capacity you are operating within, we are subject to these laws, okay? And in order to embody and be part of unity consciousness, you must have a fundamental understanding of not only the 12 immutable universal laws, these are the natural laws of the universe, but the law of one, which is otherwise known as the law of oneness, or the cosmic sovereign law of one. If you don't understand this and you don't know how to embody this and practically apply this, you cannot be a part of unity consciousness. Because the law of divine oneness, the law of one, very clearly states, and this being the first of the 12 universal laws, this law helps us to understand that in this world, while we are having this human experience, everything is connected to everything else. Everyone is connected to everyone else. You are but an individuated thread of consciousness that is connected to the tapestry of all. And you are special and you are important in that aspect. And your vibration, your frequency, contributes to that of the whole. You are, in another way of saying it, hi Maureen, a cosmic projection, a holographic projection that is just in your limited perception perceived as an individuated thread of awareness. But it is a projection that projects out into the whole, and likewise, everything else that is a part of that whole is projected into you, okay? Every thought we have, every decision, every action or inaction has an impact on everything and everyone around us. We are all connected. So obviously, this is an incredibly powerful thing to reconcile yourself with as you're beginning to understand unity consciousness. But what does it really mean? What does it really mean to embody it? Well, first of all, you have to understand that there are no universal laws singled out that exist in a vacuum. All of the universal laws translate, blend with, merge with all of the other ones in, again, part of a seamless tapestry to create a bigger narrative in how things work in the universal laws of creation. So, yes, we're going to talk about the law of one, but this has to do with all of the other 11 immutable universal laws. They have to. They blend seamlessly. They overlap with each other. They all integrate and complement each other. This is a very important thing to understand. But the most fundamental and important law to understand when we are moving into unity consciousness, and that is what 5D is. 5D is the integration, the embodiment, the practical application of unity consciousness, otherwise known as the law of one in action. And when we are all taking action, meaning we reach a tipping point of consciousness, when mass consciousness reaches past the ego self or service to self paradigm, and we have a tipping point in mass consciousness where we are moving to the STO or service to others paradigm. That is the law of unity intelligence in action. And what does that mean? That means that acting from a place of unity intelligence meaning it means that we are using our intelligence instead of our whole lives as we've used our own intelligence against us. This means we are finally using our own intelligence for the betterment of ourselves, for the betterment and the highest good of all, and with the least amount of resistance for all involved. I call this the God choice, and I refer to this often when I speak about and teach about timelines. Because the God choice is unity, intelligence, in action. It is the law of one in action. It is practically applied. It looks like I'm still going, Maureen. I hope that you can find us again. But yeah, it looks like I'm still live. I hope you can jump back on, Maureen. So what does this mean in terms of how we apply it? Does it mean that we are being asked to transform our relationships with others? You bet. But there's an even more important basic principle of foundational belief and action that must take hold before we can transform our relationship with others. Hey, Tammy. When our inner Christed light, this is us in our God sovereign self aspect of being. It's like our highest self, okay? This inner Christed light, when this is actualized in form, this is unity consciousness, this is 5D. But that is also the embodiment of the eternal God human. That means we are no longer suffering under the same illusions that we do in this 3D reality density, which is that we are born, we live, and then we die. In our eternal God human aspect, we don't die. We change form. We move from that carbon-based physical matter form, which we know ourselves to be now, we always have in terms of our limited or tampered with cellular memory here on planet Earth. and we move into light body status, which is a pre-silicate matrix form. So we become light beings, or we move back to being light beings, because essentially that is who we all descended down here into density from, our light being and our light body status. So the eternal God human is returning to that status. And in order to remember how to return to that status, we have to practice and apply that unity intelligence, that unity consciousness mentality to all things, all sentient life. We are one with it all. Okay? And this is a hard thing for us to grasp here, and I get that. But to be at one with all, you have to understand that one is all with God, or source, whatever you want to call that. You are never not that. You are never not whole. You are never not the sum of all the parts of the holographic projections of the universe, that all those individuated consciousness is. They all exist in that still point within you. It's all accessible there when you tune into it. And from that still point within, that eternal God human, God sovereign self, if you want to call it that, still point within, you can access all possibilities, probabilities, and ways of being. But it's not a passive process, moving into unity consciousness. Moving into ascended awareness is not passive. It is in fact very active. And we are being invited to take action on moving into this paradigm of being. And the very basic, step one way of being, in alignment with the law of one is practicing unity consciousness to transform our relationship with others. But yes, first, we have to transform our relationship with ourselves. Since we hold all parts of God within us, we hold all parts and pieces of that tapestry of the one all, the all that is within us, which includes all individuated threads of consciousness, which includes, I hold part of Lorianne within me. I hold part of Tammy within me. I hold part of Abigail within me. And likewise, they all hold a part of me in them. We are never separate. It is only in our individuated ego consciousness where we've been, conditioned to believe in this illusory reality of separation. That does not exist. When we find ourselves uncomfortable, let's just say, with the actions of others, what we can do is we can remember to cultivate the right attitude towards self. Because if something is happening outside of me and I'm PO'd at something that someone is doing, I feel like they're acting the fool, they're doing something stupid, they're driving like a maniac, whatever. That rift, that calling out of an experience or a trigger event that makes me feel that separation, like that person is this and I am that, that is always and ever an illusion. And this is the hardest thing for us to ground into is truth in this reality, but it's absolutely true. It is a signal and a message that there is something within me where I feel separate from myself. And whenever you feel that rift, it is always an invitation. It is always a gift from the universe and from this particular universal law to say, hey, Catherine, where are you feeling at odds with yourself? Where are you buying into the illusory reality that somehow some part of you is separate from the wholeness of you? Does that make sense? Give me some heart if you guys are following me here, okay? The law of one is the universal truth that all is one. And thus, one who practices this understanding of the law of one, with an example that I just gave, for instance, you are acting and making decisions upon that level of awareness that every action has a consequence to the self and every action has a consequence to others. There is no separation between the two. Again, this is one of the hardest things for us to get here. Okay? There are some basic principles of the law of one. One of the most basic principles of the law of one. There's a lot to explore here, but I want to unpack this, first of all, in a half hour. And I want to unpack this in a way where you can, take this away with you as a nugget of wisdom that you can practically apply in your life right now. Okay, that's how I like to teach. I want it to be usable and tangible in your life and have direct results and benefits in your life right now. Otherwise, what good is any tool someone gives you, right? If it's just intellectual, if it's just academic, what good is it? We want to take this information, we want to apply it to our everyday reality so we can start taking the steps towards moving into those elevated stations of consciousness that is ascension. Ascension is a process. It's not a singular event, right? So this is one of the foundational steps that we got to nail before we go any further into ascension. The basic principle of the law of intelligence in action, it's basically the law of one in action, I should say, is the law of intelligence. That means intelligently acting. And I'm not talking about intellectually acting. I'm talking about intelligently acting, where you're taking the brain and the heart and they're working in sync. They are working in balance. They are working in unison to create your reality that you experience every day. And it's creating the right relationship to self. It is creating the right relationship to others, because those things, remember, are not separate. You have to understand the service to others paradigm in order to do this. We have been indoctrinated falsely and over thousands of years into the service to self paradigm. It doesn't take too much intellectual discrimination to see where this has gotten us as a human family. When we are suffering under the illusion of the service to self paradigm, we are at the mercy of our ego self. And we are not aligned with the God choice, which, as I mentioned before, the God choice is service to others in action. It is the law of one in action. It is unity consciousness embodying. The God choice is that which is highest and best for you, that which is highest and best for all. Those things are not mutually exclusive. We've just been indoctrinated into the false belief that they are. And what is also in the least amount of resistance for all involved. The God choice. Every interaction you have, every exchange, every potential altercation you might find yourself in, you can ask yourself, what is the God choice for me in this scenario? Every time you ask that of yourself, it is not the ego that will answer, because the ego doesn't know what the F to do with that question. It will always and ever be, at the very least, your higher self being perked up to attention and ready to be like, ooh, she's asking me what to do here. Okay? Once you get in the practice of doing this, asking, what is the God choice in this scenario? What is the God choice with this opportunity that's being presented to me to interact with another here? Or to react to this situation or respond to this event? Once you practice yourself in this mode, in this mentality, you shift out of the ego self, out of the service to self paradigm. You shift into the service to others paradigm. You are operating in integrity with the law of one. You are in alignment with unity consciousness principles, and you are embodying what comes next, which is your choice to take action, intelligent action on that God choice. Once you practice with this more, it is your sovereign God self that, is answering that call, coming to attention, and then acting from that level of perception of you. This is a powerful shift, you guys. Let's move away from the idea, which is also false indoctrinated conditioning, that loving yourself deeply and honoring your path, if you do that, that's not selfish. Loving yourself deeply and honoring your path, accepting where you are. I'm not saying don't take action on changing something if something doesn't fit for you, or if something in your life isn't aligned with the God choice for you. Yes, change that. There's a difference between not taking any action and accepting. Because the only place we can take action in integrity is if we accept where we are right now. That's also in alignment with the law of one. Because if you can accept and love yourself who you are right now, That means that you can accept and love who everyone else is right now. Who else is getting tingles here? Loving yourself deeply, honoring your path, accepting where you are right now. This is an automatic holographic projection from that still point within you that I mentioned. And sending this out as a ripple of love to all of humanity, saying, you know what? I love you deeply, and I accept who you are, and I honor your path. It may not be mine. I may not fundamentally agree with where you're at and what you're doing, but I can love you anyway. If we don't nail this, folks, good luck with Ascension. Good luck with Unity Consciousness. Sorry to be a taskmaster here, but, you know, I'm not a hand holder. I'm not a hand holder. I'm here to deliver the information. I'm here to bring the light. And sometimes bringing the light and bringing the truth means I'm going to nail this into your psyche one way or another. I'm going to make sure you guys get this. But not only is that, you know, the first step of embodying unity consciousness, loving yourself deeply, honoring your path. How do you expect to love others if you don't love yourself first? It's not going to happen. How can you accept others if you don't accept yourself first? It's not gonna happen, right? You feel me? But once you do this, honor yourself, accept yourself, love yourself, it is easier to find methods to be of service. That falls right on the heels of all of that. It's easier to find methods to be of service to others and not overstep personal boundaries of discernment. This is really important. And the other false indoctrination that we've had through the service to self paradigm is that if you don't take care of yourself first, you know, you're in big trouble. Someone else is going to get what's yours. That's never true. That has never, ever, ever been true. No one can take what is yours, what is truly yours. Okay? That's part of the service to self paradigm. And we can see where that's gotten us. A false sense of competition. You know, keeping up with the Joneses. I got to get mine before it's all gone. False, 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 false. We live in a cornucopia of an abundant universe. Stop buying into the lies. You've been bought and sold lies your whole life based on the service to self paradigm. Let me ask you this. Those who are the puppeteers, and it's only a handful of people really perpetuating this myth of the service to self paradigm, because they've been able to, you know, profit off of that in many, many ways over thousands of years. What happened if everybody started standing up and operating in the service to others paradigm, like really showing up and stepping into where they can be of service to others? That means everyone who's profited from the service to self paradigm over thousands of years, they're suddenly out of business. Yes or no? Hearts if you agree. That's dangerous. If we all step up and into our power and into our light, if we all find easier methods to be of service to others, that means that they no longer run the show. That's why so many things are changing and shifting on this planet right now, folks. Okay? Because we're starting to wake up and be like, wait a minute. Everything I've been told is a lie. One of those lies is that being of service to others means giving of yourself to your detriment. Like, oh, you're giving too much, you're going to max out. If you are giving of yourself from that ego, self level of perception, you are going to burn out. You are going to run out of gas. But the more you are in your higher self aspect, the more you bring yourself around in all of your decisions, all of your interactions, asking, what is the God choice in this scenario? You're automatically perking up your higher self, your God sovereign self to attention. It is that level of perception within which you are acting out of unity intelligence from, and you are taking action from. You will never get gassed out at that level of perception. You know why? Because you're working off a source grid of energy at that point that is infinite. When you are in the ego self vantage point, you are working off a finite source grid of energy. You could also call it the false ascension matrix. It is a phantom matrix of energy. It's not real in the sense that if we keep giving our focus and attention to it, it will be. Because the timeline that holds that, and any timeline that holds any energy as a vessel or container of energy, can only exist if humans agree to participate with it. That's how powerful our energy is, folks. So the second we stop funneling and siphoning off our energy into timelines that are not in the highest and best benefit for all, that are not aligned with the God choice, and we keep those paradigms, timelines perpetuating, then they are real. Because we're creating our reality around it. But we start opting out of those timelines that are aligned with service to self. We opt in with our dedicated focus and energy around the principles of service to others paradigms, and we're creating timelines for humanity based on that. We change it all. And the really crazy thing is we could change it overnight if we wanted to. If we all collectively stood up and said, you know what, no more. I don't consent to this BS anymore. I'm done. If we all stood up on the planet and did that, except for the handful of puppeteers who think they're really running the show, boy, talk about a paradigm change. This is exciting stuff, you guys, because what I'm basically trying to nail into your awareness is that you hold all the cards. Those of us here that want to do good, that want to see good, that want genuine good for others, I will completely and totally say from my heart right now, I genuinely want the highest good for others. I want that. I wouldn't have devoted 20 years of my life doing this work if I didn't believe that we could change and that we could make a positive change and that we could create a wave of energy that changes the way things are done on this planet. I would not be doing the things that I do in my life if I didn't believe that was true. If I didn't believe that, hey, maybe it could happen tomorrow. I hold, yes, that very childlike sense of innocence that it could all change tomorrow. Why not? And what's the alternative? For me to keep believing in the same crap over and over again? I'm not going to go that route. I've always denied authority. I've always stood up against authority my whole life, even the time when I was a little kid standing up to the Catholic nuns when I was in Sunday school. I ain't gonna stop now. When we are so close to this tipping point, and you can either believe that or you can put it on a shelf and say, yeah, maybe I'll get to that later. But the more of us who stand up and act on this truth, the better chance we have of tipping the mass point of consciousness toward elevated higher dimensional levels of awareness, towards service to others. This is our power. When you are in this service to others paradigm, when you're letting go of that ego perspective of entitlement, that I gotta have this before they get that ego sense of expectation or attachment, if you let that go, it is much easier to practice being of service to others. And calling forth, anytime you are involved in an interaction, a discussion, you're put in a difficult, challenging situation, if you simply ask yourself, this is a very simple tool, very elemental, very fundamental. What is the God choice for me in this scenario? What is the God choice for me here? You're automatically shifting out of service to self paradigm into service to others mentality. You're pricking up the ears of your higher self and or your sovereign God self. And you're inviting yourself to take action which is aligned with the God choice, which is the highest and best good for you and of all, and with the least amount of resistance for all involved. Just try it. Just try it. Play with it. Because like I said, folks, if we don't nail this fundamental law of one, good luck with ascension. Good luck with unity consciousness. I don't know how you're going to do it. But it is possible. But like anything, it is a choice. And we are being asked to have discernment in all things. What is really going on here? Who's really in charge here? Do I just believe that things are going to be this way and there's only a handful of people making those decisions on this planet? Do I want to keep playing into that? Misuse and abuse of power? I know I don't. I can't tell you how much I love that. because it's the ego. Oh, I wish I could click on that. Let me see if I can. Does anyone have any questions for me? I know I've only got a couple minutes here, but I would love it if any of you have questions. I can't tell you how much I love that, because it's the ego that I've been tripping over recently. And how can we not? How can we not? You know, this is what we've allowed ourselves to create our entire personal identity around. We've allowed the ego to be that central fount of energy from which we create our whole personal reality around. We've been indoctrinated into that. And everything about the service to self society that we've lived in has said, yep, that's right, that's right, that's right, keep doing that, keep doing that. Not once have we been told. I mean, have you ever been told in school about the service to others paradigm? I mean, maybe when you're in kindergarten, like, hey, if you use it, clean it up and put it back, right? That's kind of the beginning stages of a service to others paradigm, but then it stops there, doesn't it? You know? Think if you had learned this stuff when you were a little kid. I always say this stuff when I teach this stuff. I always think, like, God, what if someone taught you this when you were in kindergarten or first grade, right? That tipping point of mass consciousness might have happened already. The God choice has been a game-changing concept for me to check in with since I learned it in Time Benders. Yeah, so Courtney, thank you for saying that. Courtney is, I think you've been with me since the beginning. I started teaching Time Benders and Timeline Healers. Time Benders and Timeline Healers is my Facebook group that is our support group and forum for the Timelines Expanded Masterclass that I mentioned at the beginning. So that's a nice segue. Thank you, Courtney, because I am going to be teaching it again in February of 2021, and it's available as a self-study program. Yeah, you were there since the beginning, Courtney, and I teach the God choice in there, and we go back to it often. It's kind of the springboard for a lot of the material in that Timelines Expanded program. So I'm teaching it again in February 2021, and for those of you who, you know, jive with my vibe and you want to work with me further, this is the place to do it. It is now going to be a 3-month live program that's going to start on February 1st, 2021. But when you get in there now, you have access to all the replays of the self-study program, which is good because you want to take in this material 2 times, maybe even 3 times. That's why once you're in the program and you're enrolled, you get to take this class every time I teach it live, because we learn through repetition. Like, the more this stuff gets drilled into your brain, especially working with time, working outside of 3D time especially, you're only really going to nail it and get it to the point where you can embody it and enact these ways of using time every day if it's, you know, been on repeat for you often, and you've taken the class many times and you keep drilling yourself with this material. It really helps to take this class a couple times. So I'm giving you guys $100 off. If you're in the summit, I'm going to be sharing this video elsewhere. So only if you are in my friend Abigail's group and you are part of the summit, and the deal for $100 off the full price. The full price of the self-study right now is $7.99, so it would be $6.99 for you. And at that price, you're already pre-enrolled for when we go live in February. So you're good to go. And then you can come back anytime and take this class over and over again. So Summit 100, and I'm going to put the link with the coupon code in the comments for you guys. You can read all about the program with that link. You can check out the member testimonials too, which are pretty phenomenal. So I want to thank all of you. I know I've run over time here, but I didn't have anyone over after me today. So I want to thank again Abigail for just creating this tremendous sacred container for all of us to share and meet. You know, I already have made some new friends in here, and that's always an amazing opportunity to meet like-minded souls and, you know, build that vibration together and have that solidarity when we do it. And it's been lovely to share with you. Thank you again, Abigail, for allowing me to participate. Thank you so much. And tomorrow is when we start up again. Abigail will be the first presenter tomorrow morning, Sunday, for the final day. And I wish you all so much love and peace. Bye-bye.